Trump is going to go.
Now that I look back on it, I really, really wish I never got into like politics.
My father immigrated here from Nicaragua, right? Like one of my prized possessions is I have his immigration papers when he came here. So I have tons of thoughts about it, but this was just fucked up, right? It was fucked up.
Adin Ross and Theo Von are facing the biggest backlash of their careers. And it's all because of one decision that they can't take back. Their public endorsement of Donald Trump was supposed to make a statement, but instead, it ignited a firestorm. What was meant to be bold and rebellious has spiraled into a cultural explosion that neither of them can control anymore. And now, both creators are realizing, painfully, that their attempts to distance themselves or walk it back are too little, too late.
Call with someone in my team. Can I tell you guys something? Now that I look back on it, I really, really wish I never got into like politics. And I feel like that's a cool thing to like talk about. Obviously, it's like, you know, I just kind of like, I know y'all didn't like that era at all, except for the Trump like stream. Obviously, at the end of the day, it was the president. Like, but like now that I look back at it, it's like, damn, like so many people just tie me to it, and now it's just like, fuck, like no matter what, they don't even get to know who I am because they don't like even want to. Oh, you did the stream with Trump. You get what I'm saying? Like, and I really, really understand other people's side, and as I'm getting older, I'm just like seeing like, I just don't think I'll ever care enough again for any other politician ever in the future. Just because it's like, at the end of the day, bro, like humans, we're all humans, you know?
Their reputations have taken a hit. Their fan bases are fractured, and the internet is unforgiving. Watch this video till the end, because what's happening with Adin Ross and Theo Von isn't just a political story. It's a cautionary tale about the power and consequences of influence in the internet age. And before we dive in, make sure you hit subscribe, because this story is going to shake the online world for a long time. Let's go straight to the heart of it. Adin Ross and Theo Von both decided to publicly align themselves with Donald Trump, thinking they were stepping into a moment of cultural disruption. Trump's campaign has been aggressively courting influencers and streamers to tap into younger audiences, and Adin and Theo were seen as key voices in the online space. Their support wasn't subtle. Adin streamed political conversations, hosted Trump associates, and repeatedly told his millions of viewers that Trump was the only one keeping it real. Theo Von, meanwhile, sat down for interviews that leaned heavily in Trump's favor, framing it as standing up against the establishment. For both men, the move was designed to solidify their image as unfiltered, rebellious voices who don't play by mainstream rules. But what they underestimated was the scale of the blowback. For years, both Adin and Theo cultivated diverse audiences, communities made up of people from all backgrounds, many of whom weren't interested in political alignments. When they decided to pick a side so publicly, those audiences split overnight.
I love watching a culture vulture spiral. You made your move. You put your flag in the sand. Now you facing all the backlash. Now you want to backpedal. Nah, stay with your man. Don't let a rich kid fool you. All he gives a fuck about is money. You know what it is? He's losing the black dollar. He's losing the black fan. All these companies, everybody knows how important the black dollar is. So what he's doing is he's backpedaling and realizing maybe the subs ain't what they used to be, or the influence isn't what it used to be, or too many people are calling me racist and this and the third. My manager had these racist remarks. I'm not cool with Kai no more. I'm not cool with Speed no more. We gotta call a spade a spade. Let's keep it a buck. Stay over there. Good old Trump and dump. You trying to do a Trump and dump? Nah. Once MAGA, always MAGA.
Comment sections filled with outrage. Longtime fans accused them of selling out for clout. Others saw it as pandering. And for some, particularly those who strongly opposed Trump, the endorsements felt like a betrayal. The backlash was loud, swift, and global. Adin Ross faced it first. Within days of his Trump-related content blowing up, the internet turned on him hard. Twitter threads dissected his past controversies, tying them to his political stance. Clips of him hyping Trump were spliced with some of Trump's most divisive statements, creating viral videos that painted Adin as reckless and politically naive. Brand deals started quietly backing away. Collaborators distanced themselves. Even some of his own streamer peers began making jokes or subtle digs, signaling that he had crossed the line. Theo Von's backlash came in a slower but more surgical way. As a comedian, He'd always relied on a carefully crafted mix of humor and authenticity to connect with audiences across the political spectrum. But when he endorsed Trump, many fans felt that his comedy had suddenly taken a hard political edge. Podcast viewers dropped. His name trended not for his jokes, but for his political commentary. Media outlets picked up his endorsement and ran headlines like "Comedian Theo Vaughn joins pro-Trump influencer wave," instantly shifting how the mainstream perceived him. What was once a quirky, beloved comedian was now seen by many as a political figure.
The reason why, I really wanted to make this stream happen is because there's a lot of people that are first-time voters watching today. And I want to make it very clear to everybody that you're a human being, you're a great human being. I want you to basically talk in this camera, talk to them and explain why it's very important as a first-time voter to go out and vote and why they should vote for you.
I'd love to do that, and I love having a young audience. This is young. I think you have some oldsters too.
That's a label you don't easily shake off. Here's where things get truly dramatic. Both men didn't fully understand the permanence of their actions. In the internet age, every statement is a tattoo on your reputation. Adin Ross and Theo Vaughn are now realizing that their endorsements have become defining moments in their careers. It's not just about what they said, it's about the timing. Their endorsements came during one of the most polarizing political cycles in recent history. The lines between entertainment, politics, and activism have blurred. When you choose a side publicly, you don't just speak, you pick a battlefield. And that's exactly what they've done. In the weeks following their endorsements, regret has started to seep through their public behavior. Adin Ross, once loud and unapologetic, has noticeably toned down his political talk. He's shifted back toward gaming, lifestyle streams, and celebrity interactions, avoiding direct mention of Trump altogether. It's a clear sign that he's feeling the pressure. His team has allegedly been in talks, trying to reposition his image, but the internet doesn't forget. Every new clip he posts is flooded with comments bringing up his Trump endorsement. For many viewers, it's not something he could just quietly move past. Theo Vaughn has also started distancing himself subtly. His recent podcasts have focused more on personal stories, comedy, and neutral topics.
My father immigrated here from Nicaragua, right? Like one of my prized possessions is I have his immigration papers when he came here. And I have them in a frame, and him and his siblings when they came here. And so I have tons of thoughts about it, but this was just fucked up, right? It was fucked up. And it was everywhere. It was like on all platforms and stuff.
So he knows deportations of regular folks is happening, and that's fine with him. But it's fucked up to him that they use his face to promote it, even though he promoted that same thing in his vote in support of this administration.
So that had me really kind of paranoid. That had me start to get kind of paranoid and, like closing, I had the curtains in my house kind of closed. I was just like, you're paranoid. I woke up the next morning. Sorry, I need some water. I woke up the next morning to a text from a high government official saying, hey, if you need some extra security in your neighborhood or some extra police cars on patrol, let me know. And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? Extra security? I don't have any, I don't even know the code to my Ring camera. And what, you're just going to put police cars in my neighborhood? What are my neighbors going to think? Now they're fearful. It just I don't know, man. That really kind of shook me. It really kind of shook me. But you keep marching on, and you start getting security, and then now you have security, right? And the thing is, you just don't know. You just don't know.
When fans or guests bring up politics, he either deflects or gives short, vague answers. The firebrand confidence he had when endorsing Trump has faded, replaced with a cautious tone that screams one thing: regret. But the problem is, in the eyes of millions, the damage is done. You can't dip your toes into one of the most polarizing political figures in modern history and expect to simply step away when the heat gets too high. The most telling sign of their regret has been the reaction from their peers. In the influencer and entertainment world, political endorsements aren't just personal opinions. They're business moves. And Adin and Theo's choices have cost them leverage. Other creators have become wary of collaborations, not wanting to inherit their controversies. Mainstream media outlets now frame any story about them through a political lens. Even casual fans who once saw them as entertainers now see them through a political filter. That's the cost of a decision they made, a cost that's proving to be far steeper than either of them anticipated. Let's be clear, this isn't about whether endorsing Trump is right or wrong. This is about the irreversible consequences of influencers entering the political battlefield without fully grasping the stakes. Trump is one of the most polarizing figures in the world. Aligning with him publicly guarantees that you'll gain a passionate segment of supporters, but you'll also alienate millions who will never see you the same way again. For Adin Ross and Theo Vaughn, their endorsements didn't come from carefully crafted political strategy. They came from impulse, clout chasing, and the thrill of being part of a cultural flashpoint. And now, the weight of that choice is pressing down hard. The backlash has evolved beyond online criticism. Real-world consequences are emerging. Venues have expressed concerns about hosting Theo's shows due to protests. Brands have quietly pulled away from Adin. Sponsorship opportunities are drying up. Their names are now political triggers, and once that happens, it's nearly impossible to go back to being just entertainers. They've effectively rebranded themselves, but not in the way they intended. As we close this story, it's important to recognize just how dramatic and irreversible this situation is. Adin Ross and Theo Vaughn are not just facing criticism. They're facing a shift in their public identities. The internet has a long memory, and political statements live forever. Their endorsements of Trump have become permanent chapters in their careers. Chapters they can't rewrite, no matter how much they may now wish they could. They could try to pivot. They could try to soften their image. But in the eyes of millions, they've already chosen a side. And that choice will follow them into every live stream, every podcast, every headline. They've learned the hard way that once you step into the political arena as a public figure, there's no going back to neutrality. You can't unring the bell. So as the fallout continues, one thing is certain. Adin Ross and Theo Vaughn's regret is real, but it's too late to undo what's been done. They've crossed a line that many creators fear, the line where influence and politics collide, and your entire legacy shifts overnight. And that's why you need to watch until the end, because this isn't just their story. It's a warning to every influencer in the game. When you pick a political side in front of millions, you're not just making a statement. You're changing your future. And if you don't understand that going in, you might end up just like Adin and Theo, realizing the cost only when it's far too late. If you haven't already, hit subscribe because we're just getting started. This is the kind of story that doesn't end overnight. The ripple effects are just beginning. And trust me, you want to see how this unfolds.